Okay, so the orienteering honor is a very interesting honor. It's part of the recreation skills. So it is something that is done outdoor. Orienteering is done outdoor, and the meaning of orienteering is to adjust yourself. All right, so you adjust yourself according to the cardinal directions. Now, I had taught the companions, right? Was that companions, Roland?
Yes.
Yeah, so I taught the companions the basics of the four directions and the eight directions that four cardinal directions and then the eight directions that we basically have. And when you're in a certain point uh, on the earth, certain place on the earth, you have to, when you need to know your location or whether you need to know where you actually, at which point of the earth you actually are, then you'd have to orient yourself. All right, so one thing which is scientific, I'm not this what to say, distinguishing between male and female or anything like that, but according to scientists, men are better at orienteering than female. All right, males are better at orienteering than females, because if you ask a man directions, they'll be able to tell you, okay, you go there, east side, west side, at any moment of time he'll be able to adjust himself to the directions, whereas a female might find it a bit difficult. All right, so that is something that's biological. You may have what to say, anomalies. All right, you may have some women who are better at orienteering, but then on a general note, men are better at orienteering than women. All right, so now we'll dive deep into the topic itself. Roland, can you put the slides up? Because from my side it'll be difficult. Yeah, so you can see the honor, it has got a compass on it, and the compass is what we use to orient ourselves when we do not actually have to find like the cardinal directions. It takes time to find the cardinal direction. So when you've got a compass, we can do it quickly. All right, next slide, please. All right, the first topic or the first requirement is explain what a topographic map is, what you expect to find on it, and three uses for it. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you, note this down. I hope you are noting the things that I'm telling you because it's a very interesting topic. All right, you may get lost somewhere at any time. Even if you do not have a compass, you can use the surrounding areas that you have, and it's basically you'll have to make a mental picture of it. So if you've got maps, Gabriel, I know he's in class 10. Shruti, I think she is also supposed to be in class 10 right now. So it's compulsory. You have 10 marks for your map. Now, a topographic map is a symbolic map of an area. All right. A topographic map is a symbolic map of the area. It contains contour lines. Contour lines are nothing but brown color curves, all right? They are brown color curves that represent height on the earth. Now, some of, like Gabriel is living on, he doesn't have a first floor, right? When Gabriel's house, most of the houses in Spicer, they have only the ground floor. When Gabriel was living on in his previous house, he was living on the top floor. So the top floor is at least 3 meters above the ground floor. So if you are looking on the map, how will you be able to know which place is high? So they have something known as contour lines. All right. So these lines, these curves represent height on the earth, and they join places of the same height. Next thing you will find on a topographic map is landmark. Now, what is a landmark? Suppose you want to tell somebody where Shruti's house is. So I do not know what landmark can we use. Shruti, can you tell us one landmark? to find your locality?
To
Are
find
you
my
in?
house.
Huh?
Find my house.
Yeah, just a locality. What everyone will be able to know that, right?
Yeah.
So what is?
I live on the highway.
Oh, highway then. Which part of the highway? The beginning or the end?
I think the beginning right there, like right on the highway, I'm right there.
All right. So, but you did not give us a specific landmark. I'll give you an example of landmark. Okay, maybe you'll be able to understand then. So, suppose we have to find Gabriel's house. You just tell house of prayer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understood.
So, the person who comes to Spicer will not be hunting for Gabriel's house around boys' hostel. He won't be hunting for Gabriel's house around the ad building, neither the auditorium, neither the girls' hostel, neither the bakery, neither the cafeteria. Where will they go straight? They'll go to
The
house of
church.
prayer. And then, yeah, the church. Then over there, they can start hunting for Gabriel's house and they'll be able to find it easily. So in top of in this picture here, all right, we've got no houses, but then we've got mountains. Can you see those brown lines are the lines which represent height, all right? And they are curved lines. And you can see in some places all these lines are joining together. When they come closer together, it means it's a cliff. Okay. And if you look carefully, you can see blue color. In topographical map, blue means water, all right? Blue color
Yep.
means water. Brown color is the earth, is the land. And you've got even white color. So white color means you've got little bit jungle, like not thick jungle, but slight jungle. And the green means vegetation, like grass. Sometimes it can be thick jungle. So in this map, you do not have a thick jungle because it's light green. If you see dark green, the darker the green, the thicker the jungle. All right. So brown is for land, blue is for water. Now I can see some rivers flowing. I can see one, two, three rivers. If you look carefully, you'll see some rivers flowing. All right, blue color, they mean rivers. And you'll also have some black marks. Not these mountains, but then you'll have actually black marks. In this map, you do not have black marks. But then if you have another topographical map, black color means rocks. All right. Black means rocks or man-made things. So suppose you've got a house in this map, it will be black in color. And I already mentioned green. Green means plants. The greener it is, the more dense or the more amount of plants, the more amount of trees, jungle, the more jungle it is. All right. And white, it's a jungle area, but then it is, you can walk through it. And sometimes you've got yellow. All right, yellow or orange. Yellow or orange means the places where sunlight easily hits. So it means there are no trees, there are no grasses. It's just like brown. And sometimes, especially in orienteering maps. Now, this is a topographic map. Orienteering map is a little bit different because they'll tell you places for camping. If you look at this map, you do not know where to camp, all right, because it looks beautiful and sometimes you may not understand anything of it. If you don't know anything, you can get lost. But then they use purple in uh, orienteering maps, and purple means places that are off limit, like the middle of the Mulla River or the side of the Mulla River. If you're doing an orienteering map, if you're using an orienteering map, they usually have orienteering maps for competition. Like they'll have a competition who can get from Talegaon to Spicer. So there are so many roads. You can go from Bangalore Highway, or you can come from Sangvi, or you can even come from Dapodi. So they will give you a route. All right. So when you have these orienteering routes, sometimes you need to take a rest. So they'll tell you one place, Dhaba. So purple, they may show you the route in purple line, the route that you have to follow, or they'll mark a place that is off limits. So they'll tell you don't go that side. So they'll mark it in purple. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so here we've got these the color guide is here. All right. So this purple areas, actually those, uh, according to this, if you nowadays you've got GPS, so you can see from up. All right. So if you look from the sky, then you'll be able to see some buildings. But the person who drew the map has not seen it actually. All right. From up, it looks like houses, but then when you go actually, maybe it is not a house. It is just a piece of tin. So all those. So this green vegetation, those black, you can see a railway line, you can see a road. Brown is topographical contour. Those black boxes are houses, and the red line is a road. Next slide, please. All right. Now, before we go into the science, let me tell you a few uses. Okay, the question says state at least three uses, but I'll give you one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. I'll give you nine uses at least. The first use, the use of a topographic map is to locate your position on the map. All right. So if you've got a map, you can locate your position on the map. Next thing is locating the position of another location on the map. Like if you've got a map of Spicer, if you're at in front of the church, you can point like you are here. When you go to parks and all, especially zoos, they'll show you a map. They'll say you are here. There'll be an arrow, and then they'll show you the whole map. So if you want to see where the lions are in the zoo, they'll show you it. They'll show it to you in the map. Like in Spicer, if they say you are here for the church, then if you want to find out where the ad building is, if you are new, then you can look at the map and you'll be able to find, okay, the ad building is that side. So the first point is locating your position. Second point is locating another position or another location on the map. Third point, you can know where to go, how to go, or you can find out a hiking route. All right. The use of a topographic map is to know where to go and how to go using a hiking route or any route. Number four, to find out the gradient. It means to find out the height of the land. All right, number four is to find out the gradient or the height of the land. Number five, availability of water or food. Availability of water or food. So when you look at the map, wherever there is blue, you know there is water. And sometimes if you look at the map, you'll be able to see some farm. So you know that there is food over there. There might be food over there, and where if it is blue, properly blue, you know that water is over there. Next point, point number 6. Point number 6 is to be able to find a good campsite on the map. All right. Now, when you simply look around on the map, you'll be able to see, all right, this place is near water. This place does not have too many rocks. It is little grassy. So I can put my tent over there. So you can find a good campsite using a topographical map. Number 7, you can find roads and railways. If you get lost and if you have a map, you know that people use roads. So the best way to get found or to unlose yourself, to not get lost, is to go to a railroad track or to go uh, to a road. So once you go to a railroad track, or if you go to a road, obviously, mostly you'll find people, or you can follow a river. 90% of human population lives beside a river or a water body. So you can find roads, railways, houses by looking at the map. Number 8, you can find the latitude and longitude of a place. Now, if you've seen a globe, they've got horizontal lines and vertical lines. Means lines going up and down and lines going side to side. So those are called longitudes and latitude. Every position on Earth has a latitude and longitude. All right. So if you know how to read a map, you'll be able to find your latitude and longitude. And especially when you get lost, if you're in an emergency situation, then it becomes very useful. Next thing is you'll be able to find out dangerous areas around you by just looking at the map. All right, maybe you're just walking around and it's full of jungle. It looks like it's jungle and you cannot see a cliff. But then in the map, it shows, okay, it is jungle and then there's a cliff over there. so you can avoid that place, especially when you're lost. Then you simply go walking, 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 and suddenly there's a deep ditch. You fall into it because you do not know. It looked like a normal plain ground, but then it was a dangerous place. Many times in maps they write, okay, this place is a marsh, this place is sinking sand, this place you'll be able to see mirages, those like in the desert in Tom and Jerry and all, in those cartoons they'll be able to see water, but when they go over there it's totally sand, right? So those are called mirages. So when you look at the map, you'll be able to know what the dangerous areas are. Let's go to the next slide, identifying 20 signs and symbols used on topographical map. All right, I just like you to look at it carefully. If you can, please screenshot this page. All right. Now you've got 18 on this slide. Please, if you could screenshot this slide, because you'll have to write down some symbols later on in your worksheet. The first one looks like an aeroplane. So when you see an aeroplane on the map, sometimes it's an aeroplane with a circle. All right. Let me see if I can use a pen. Uh, it will be an aeroplane with a circle. All right. You'll have an aeroplane with a circle like that, somewhat like that. So when you've got that, it means it's an airport. The next thing is the boat launch. It looks like a boat and it's going up a ramp. That's a boat launch. The next one is a tent. If you see a tent on the map, that is a camping ground. You can camp there nicely without any difficulty because people have camped there before. There are no wild animals. It's not a dangerous place. So that is a symbol of a campground. The next thing is canoe access. The man looks like he's praying, but then he's actually sitting on water. Can you, on a boat on water. So that is a canoe, and over there you can have canoe access. Now you won't find the symbol in the middle of the land or on top of the mountain. All right. The second one and the third or fourth one, you'll not simply find it on top of a mountain, because boats you ride it on water, even canoes you ride it on water or next to you'll on rivers, obviously water. So these two symbols you'll be able to see them next to water. The fifth one is drinking water. If you've got a cup with water, that is the availability of drinking water. Now these symbols are usually used in an orienteering map. Okay, you'll not usually find them in topographical map. You may find them in topical maps. They're called topical maps or orienteering maps. The next one is a plus. Now, when you see this plus, does not mean it's the country of Switzerland. Okay. Now, the plus is a universal symbol for medical aid. So that's a first aid center. You can find first aid in case you get hurt. You go to this first aid center. Next thing is fishing. The first image on the second row is fishing. You can see a hook there with fish. This again, you'll find it next to water bodies. Next thing is food service. Many times, some people are good enough to have a cabin in the woods where they provide food for you, warm food. So it's like a dhaba. So you'll get food over there. Next thing is four-wheel drive access. You can see a 4x4. It's a jeep. So many times you cannot take vehicles everywhere. All right, but then if you've got this photo, if you've got the symbol, it means you can take your vehicle up till there. And the next image is a petrol pump. Obviously, if you're able to take your four-wheeler there or your two-wheeler there, you need petrol or you need diesel. So you'll be, if there's no diesel place or petrol place in the whole area, be careful and be sure to take extra petrol or extra diesel, extra fuel with you. Because if you get stuck in the middle of nowhere without fuel, then that can spell disaster. Because many times people go and they get stuck over there, and because they don't want to leave their vehicle, they usually get stuck there, and many people die in or around their vehicles. Next one is hospital, with blue. This could also mean a helipad if it is in a circle. All right. H in blue or is means a hospital, or it could be in black also. But if it's got a circle around it, it means it's a helipad where helicopters can land. The last image on the second row is a question mark. It means you can ask for information. It's an information desk. Many times in India, people are not there. It's just an empty place. But then yeah, if it's a common hiking area, walking area, then people would be there. Next thing is a dustbin. All right, on the third row, the first image is the symbol of a dustbin. The next image is it's a motel. So a place where you can sleep. Maybe it's not a motel, but just a lodging place where you can sleep, spend the night, spend the time. If you are a little tired, maybe there is food, maybe there's water, but obviously there's place to sleep. Okay, so that's a lodging place. There's a bed over there. Next thing is P. Now we all know that P, like this symbol on the map or on the road, P means parking. All right, next one, it's a it's a bench, it's a picnic bench. All right, it's not a, that's a picnic bench. So that means it's a picnic area. And the next image, it's a house with a flag. So if you go in the jungles, especially, you've got people who take care of the jungles, who make sure that there's no fire, that some animals, when they get injured, that they can get first aid. And when people get lost, these people are the ones who take care, who are first called to find, right, to go as a search party. So that's called a ranger station. That's where these rangers live. Next one is recycling. Most probably it's the same as a dustbin, but then you'll have blue and green. So blue is for your non-recyclable, I mean non-renew, what to say, non-decomposable material, and green is your dustbin for your decomposable materials. Next slide, please. All right, so we finished 18. Now we're having few more. You can take a screenshot of this slide also. It will be useful because you'll have to mention some of these symbols later on. So when you've got male, female with a door in between, I mean with a line in between, it means it's a toilet. All right. And the next image, you've got a camper van. That is for an RV campground. So RV, these are those movable houses that they've got in America. People use this for camping, and they've got beautiful camping grounds where they park these vehicles and they stay over there. So that's an RV camping ground. The next one is a man walking, and it's got dotted arrows. So it means it's a self-guiding trail. It it means you can go there by yourself. It's a pretty safe place. There is a trail, there is a walkway, there's a path which you can go by yourself without much danger. Okay, it's a safe walking place. It's a self-guiding trail. The next one looks like a stapler or like a C. That one is a shelter. So suppose you're walking and it's hot and there are no trees, you'll be able to find a shelter. You can take shade, you can take rest under the shade of the shelter. Next one is store. So they've got an apple, like not like the Apple company, but then there's a can of milk or water, whatever, and there's an apple. So that means it's a store. All right. And the next one looks like the olden day telephones, the one with wires. So that one you can find a telephone if you have an emergency, if you notice something, if you've got any problem, you can quickly go to the telephone. In America, they usually have it for, they call 911. It works. And in India, on the side of the highways, in Mumbai Pune Expressway, they used to have these telephones. You could call 100 or 108 for ambulance. So if you see this on the map, it's for a telephone. The next one is another man walking with a stick. So that's a trailhead. It means this is a trail, you can walk on this trail. And the next one, it looks like, I don't know, that's a symbol of a bridge. All right. A bridge, you may find it on top of a river or on top of another road. So it's black in color. Remember, black, all these black are uh, man-made objects. Next one is a hiking trail. It is dotted like that. It's a hiking trail. It is not a road. All right. A road will be just one black straight line. It will be a thick black straight line. So when it's dotted like this, it's a hiking trail. It means it's made of mud and then it's got grass also on it. The next one is not supposed to be black. It's supposed to be blue because it's a marsh. All right. And then you'll have small dots like that and it look like small grasses. It's supposed to be blue in color, which means that there is water over there and it's a marsh. Next thing is parking area. It looks like a speed bump. All right. So the previous one we saw was a P, but this is also another parking area. It's a small speed bump. The next image is rapids. All right. So rapids are not waterfall, but then these are places where uh, the water goes quickly. Not exactly a waterfall, but then where water goes quickly
A
and it's
place
up
with
this,
current,
huh?
a place like streams which have current in them.
Yeah. So you'll be able to see white water. All right. When water travels fast over rocks, it becomes white, right?
Oh, yeah, I understood. Got it.
Waterfalls are white because they fall from a height. But then, like in Mulla River, even if it's flowing fast, you'll not usually see white color. But then, when it hits some rocks and all, you'll be able to see white color. So those are called rapids. All right. People go canoeing, right? You know
Yes,
canoeing.
yes, got it.
So do it on rapids. And the thing about marshes and rapids is it's supposed to be blue color because rapids are also on water, marsh is also on water. Then the next one is spring. All right, spring is a place where water comes out, all right, from the ground. And the first one is totally blue. It means 24 throughout the year. It's a perennial spring. So they get water throughout the year. The next one is blue color with white in between. It means it is a spring that is available only during rainy season or when there is abundance of water. All right. So if you're thirsty and all, if you see this, you may or may not get water. The next one is again a blue spring, and there's a small line so that from the spring a river comes out. All right. And the next one is a white one with blue running. It means this spring, only when it is rainy season, you'll be able to get water. If it is a dry season, if you're if you're I mean, you may not get water if it's dry season. All right. The last one is unpaved road. Now, unpaved road is got that small gap in between. Now, hiking trail is also a road. All right. But then the gaps are little, the gaps are more, and the line is thin. Now, an unpaved road means the road from farm till Mulla River. That's an unpaved road. Okay. So it is not too grassy, it is not too thin. All right. It's a little wide road. So that's an unpaved road where there is no blacktop, where they did not put Alcatra or asphalt. Now, if they put road like Shruti was saying highway, if they mark a highway on the map, it will be a thick black line. All right. So that will be your highway. So we've got 18 plus 18, 6 for the 24, 6 5 the 30, 32 symbols. Out of this 32 on your worksheet, you can write 20. And uh, since you're doing it online, you do not have to draw it. But then, yeah, so you're lucky because this thing is being held online. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, give the nomenclature of an orienteering compass. Now, a compass. I hope all of you, both of you know, or all of us know what a compass is. This is not a geometric compass. I taught the other students. This you can see the image. I mean the patch on the bottom right of the screen, right? So that is a compass that points east, west, north and south, and then you've got those other dials on it. So next, this one, please, slide. Yeah, so this is actually an orienteering compass. This is a more advanced compass, and you've got a base. All right. Usually nowadays they make it clear. Means it's like your scale, your plastic scales. So you've got your base on the bottom. It's like a compass on a scale. Okay, I hope you understand that. It's a compass on a scale, and then you've got this cover base and all that, and the compass, it moves. The red point always points towards the north, magnetic north of the earth. Now if you know the earth is having true north. Okay, there's something known as true north. That's where the north pole is. If you watch these cartoons, Santa Claus and all these reindeer stories, they tell that Santa Claus stays in the North Pole, right? So that is what is known as the true north. It's a place where it's cold throughout the year, ice throughout the year. But then there's one more thing known as the magnetic north. Now this is a place where the earth tilts a little bit. All right. You know, the earth is not spinning straight, it's spinning with a tilt. And due to the magnet iron inside the earth has a polar north. Okay, there's the magnetic north pole. So when you're having a compass, your red your red needle of the compass will not point to the north pole, where we that north pole, it points to the magnetic north. And these two are very different from each other. So the main things about an orienteering compass is the scale, and you've got your compass, and you've got uh, a line, that fixed index line, this one. Wait, let me see. Yeah, this is the fixed index line. With my pen. Yeah, so this is important. This is your scale, and this is your compass. All right. So the magnetic north is towards that side, and this is your sighting lens. Many of them, they do not have a sighting lens. They will have a stick like this. All right. Or they'll have a slot like this slot. So you look from here, and this is usually the direction you want to go in. All right, this point. This fixed index line shows the direction you want to go in. And this is your compass. This part can usually turn. Let me clear it out so that it becomes less confusing. Okay, why is my name over there? Ah. Okay, so this one can usually turn. All right. And next slide, please. So that is basically your compass. Now, know the meaning of the following: elevation, contour, interval, magnetic north, declination, scale, measuring, back azimuth. Okay, so Roland, if you can stop the screen share and put me on video, I'll explain it on the screen. All right, I hope you can see the board behind me, right? So the first
Yes.
thing is elevation. Elevation means height. So this is your mountain. I hope you can see. If not, I'll have to bring this closer. Okay, so this is your mountain, and this is your sea. All right. So Roland is living in Bombay. This is your water. Bombay is at the sea level. All right. And I'm living in Kopum, so it's on the mountain. So this is where I'm living. Okay, that's me. So my elevation is higher than the sea level. Sea level is zero elevation. Okay, 0 meters. I'll have to change it like that since it's mirroring. So let me also 0 meters. Okay. And me, I might be living at 600 meters. Okay. So this is elevation. The next one is, okay, it may be difficult for me because The screen is mirroring itself. I don't know how to change that, but anyway, uh, the next point is contour interval. Okay, so if this is a mountain, so this mountain, when we make it into contour lines, this is a contour line, this is a contour line, this is a contour line, and this is a contour line. On a map, it will look like this. This is 0 meters, 10 meters, 20 and 30 and 40. All right. Okay, it's still showing. So this will be your 0 meters. This will be your 10, 20, and 30 and 40. So it will look like this. The distance between these two lines is called contour interval. All right. Now next one is magnetic north. Let's draw the earth. I was trying to explain it previously. This is the earth. Okay, Roland, when I draw it like that normally, does it look mirror or does it look normal?
For
Like
me,
I wrote my name. Does it look mirrored or does it look
normal.
normal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So for me, it looks mirrored. Okay, so this is the earth. Okay. Now this is the North Pole. Now the earth is tilted. So the North Pole anyway, that's where the North Pole star is. Okay, this is the North Pole star. And this is your South Pole. And this is your North Pole. And you've got something known as, they say earth is a giant magnet. So all these lines, they come here. So this is your magnetic north. Okay, magnetic north. This is where your compass will point. Your compass will not point here. Your compass will point to the magnetic north, and you can see the distance between the two. Okay, from the equator it may not seem so much. Okay, but then the more you go, suppose you're here and then it says north, you'll be going the wrong direction. But if you have to go, rather than going here, you'll be going this direction, which can take you in the wrong place. So that's the magnetic north. The direction which the compass needle points is your magnetic north. Yeah. Next one is declination. Okay. Declination. Okay. That same thing is the distance between your North Pole and your magnetic north. Okay. The further north you go, the more the declination increases. And sometimes it can be less if you are south. If you are here, the declination is less. The more north you go, the more it is. Sometimes the declination, your North Pole and your magnetic, this one, if you're on this part of the earth, then it becomes positive. All right. This side becomes positive and this side becomes negative declination. You've got two, the difference between your North Pole and your magnetic pole, magnetic north, is called your declination. That is point number 4. Number 5 is your scale. Now in maps, you've got something at the bottom of your map, you have something written like this. 1, then this one, 1 ratio. In India, usually we use 25,000. In USA, they might use 1 ratio 24,000 because they use different method of calculating. In India, we usually use meter. All right. You do not say my house is 1 mile from Khadki. We say my house is 2 kilometers from Khadki. All right. In India, we use kilometers. How far is Bombay from Pune? 300 kilometers. We do not say 150 miles, something like that. So this one uses feet and this one uses millimeter. All right. So this is actually 1 inch. 1 inch on your map is equal to 250 meters. Okay, this one. 1 inch on the map equals to 250 meters on the ground. So on the bottom of your map, you'll have that. In America, they've got this. You'll have to adjust and find out carefully regarding the way, regarding the measurement, the metric, whether they use metric or, sorry, whether they use feet or whether they use meter. All right. Which type of measurement they use. Because you may think that, okay, it says 1,000 meters. But then if it's 1,000 feet, 1,000 feet is only 300 meters. You'll be in the wrong direction because 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer away. So something like that. So this is your scale. All right. On the bottom of your map, you'll see this 1 ratio this or 1 ratio this. If it's 24,000, it's usually in feet. For mm, it's you can get this, you can get this, you can get 50,000. So it'll be given at the bottom of your map. Now, one more thing, your map. If you've got your map, your topographical map, I should have mentioned it in the beginning. The topographical map that you had, that we showed in the screen, in your slide, the top part always points to north, and you'll have your map. This is true north, okay, not magnetic north. The top part always points to the north. This one always east. This is south, and this is your west. So this is how your map, your topographical map is set. And the next point, number 6, is measuring. Okay, measuring means to determine or to calculate distance between 2 points on the map. Now suppose this map is 1 inch equal to 50 meters. All right. So this is 1 inch, this is 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6. Say it's almost 7 inches. All right. So it means the distance from this point to this point is 750 meters. This is my original place. I have to travel towards the southeast direction. I'm traveling from the northwest. Okay, this is in the northwest. I'm traveling from northwest towards the southeast direction, 750 meters, because 1 inch on this map equals to 50 meters. So this is just an example I'm showing you. And if you've got your compass, your orienteering, if this is your north, east is usually 90 degrees. And so this one will be 105 degrees. I'll be traveling 105 degrees from my position. 750 meters, I'll be traveling 105 degrees. So that is known as measuring. Determining the distance on the map and converting it to distance on real ground. That is called measuring in topography. Number 7 is called, is back azimuth. The spelling is back azimuth. Back. Okay, this is your spelling. Back, like your back, front and back. Azimuth. Azimuth. Now, before we go to back azimuth, I'd like to explain to you the point number 8 or point number 9. It is azimuth. Okay. Once you know what azimuth is, you'll be able to find out what back azimuth is. So azimuth is nothing but your compass in degrees. Okay. When you check your direction, when you say it in degrees, like I was saying southeast, but then southeast is not in degrees. When I said 105 degrees, that becomes an azimuth. Okay. And when you draw a line backwards, that one becomes your back azimuth. Now I started from here and I'm traveling 105 degrees. So that one becomes my azimuth. if I'm drawing in the backward direction, that one will become my back azimuth. And I hope you understand that. The next one is called azimuth is also the direction which you are going in. Okay, azimuth is the direction in which you are going. Uh, Back azimuth is the opposite of that. Next thing is distance. Next point is distance. Distance is nothing but the difference or the length between 2 points on the map. Distance is nothing but the difference between 2 points in the map. The distance or the length between 2 points in a map. And point number 11, next point is ground form. Ground form means the shape of the outermost layer of the earth or the surface of the earth. Now, Shruti is living in Talegaon. So Talegaon has many hills. When you look outside, you'll be able to see like this. You'll see roads. Sometimes you'll see rivers. So this is nothing but your ground form. All right. Here the ground is high, and in rivers you do not see rivers floating on top of the mountain. Rivers flow from up to down. Okay. So rivers are found in the usually lower areas of on lower elevations. What if you talk according to geography? All right. So those were your 11 points. I hope you understood it. Let's go to the next slide. Roland, you can share the slide again. Roland, the slide, please. Okay. This is demonstrate how to shoot a magnetic azimuth. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so there are two techniques. All right. So this is the first technique. You will hold your compass like this. All right. You will keep it near your chest or near your stomach, exactly where your solar plexus is. That is where your stomach is. The point where the soft part of your stomach and your ribs meet. So somewhere there you'll hold it, and that point here, this point is actually the direction you are going to go in. All right. This is, you will point it in the direction which you want to go. Okay. Now you may the needle may or may not point in the same direction, because you every time you do not have to go north. So when you hold it like this, your needle will point in a certain direction, and actually you will have to adjust for declination. I think it's in the further points. I'll teach you there. I'll teach you that. But this is basically, you'll have to point the compass in the direction you want to go, and you will turn this dial. Okay. You will turn this dial in such a way that suppose this is your needle. All right. This is your magnetic needle which is pointing north. So you will have in this, you'll have one small box. You will have one small box, and the needle should point in the same direction like this. The needle, that box, the red color box, will be exactly looking in the same direction as your needle. Okay. When you have this, you look at this point. When your needle is aligning with that point, with that rotating this one dial, then you look at this point. Okay. You look at the scale, and that will show your azimuth. It will show you the degree. So suppose your needle is pointing this direction. All right, your magnetic needle. So usually if you want to go in this direction, so that would be about 45 degrees, or if it's in that side, so it should be 2 to about 270 degrees. I'm not exactly sure, but then that is how you will get it. All right. Next slide, please. This is known as the center hole technique. You'll keep the compass near your chest. The next one is more accurate. And the benefits of using the center hold is you can do it quickly. All right. For the next, this one, you have to bring it to your eye and you have to look around here and there. And if the visibility is not good, then you cannot use the second technique. Okay, this is compass to cheek technique. The first one is quick. You can use it in any weather situation, and you do not have to remove your spectacles if you've got them, and you do not have to, like, it's less of a hassle. The next, this one is the compass to cheek technique. One disadvantage is you'll have to have a clear view, all right, of where you're looking at. And you'll also, if you've got glasses or spectacles, sometimes your spectacles will interfere. So you'll have to remove your spectacles and all that. Now, what happens is, like when we saw our compass, I told you that there's a point, right? A needle or a lens. So many times in this one, they've got the lens. They haven't got the lens, they've got the needle. So this needle, suppose you've got a mountain here. You point this needle towards the mountain. You want to go to the mountain, you look at the mountain, okay, and you will turn the dial, okay, again, and you'll turn the dial, and from here, usually that lens was there. Through the lens, you look at this point, all right. So this one will show you your azimuth. It will show you in degrees which, I mean, the direction you want to go in compared to the magnetic north. Next one, please. Next slide. Demonstrate how to march on a magnetic azimuth. Next slide, please. So this is what we do. Uh, Slowly you'll be able to find out. Like here, there's a tree. I'm not sure whether it's a tree or not. Yeah, so this is your lens. All right. I told you this is a lens, so that you, from this lens, you can see, you'll be able to see down there. You'll be able to see this point. This is the point you're actually looking at. This is where you get your azimuth. Okay. Yeah, sorry, this is the point. Because this is the direction you want to go in. This is the point you'll be looking at. And this is your needle is pointing in that direction. So you have aligned. Here they've got this short luminous line. So sometimes they get your compass will have something like this. So you will align your needle with this point, or else you'll align your needle, you'll turn this dial, okay, like a watch. Some of the watches they can turn, right? Tuck 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 sound. Those are chronograph watches. So they basically have the same function. You will turn this dial till this short luminous line matches uh, uh, is it matches the magnetic north. And when you look through the lens, you will look at this point. So this point will show you a degree, and that this one becomes your azimuth. Now what you want to do is, since you fixed your azimuth, you will start walking in the direction of your azimuth. All right. Now these two are already set. You want to walk to this tree. You found out the azimuth, and now you are going to start walking in this direction. So no matter where you go, uh, this one should always be pointed in this direction. Okay. The short luminous line should be pointed with your magnetic north. So whenever you turn around, you should always adjust yourself so that you're walking in towards 320 degrees. And then when you, whether you go around like this, like this, like this, try to adjust yourself so that you go to 320 degrees and you'll be able to reach that position. All right, next slide, please. Know two correct methods to correct for declination and when correction is necessary. All right, next slide, please. There are two methods. All right, so in those days, when the when the earth was not well explored, like recently only, the past, I would say 200 years, people explored Africa and all these places, North Pole also. In the past century only they've reached that place. So when they went around there, they noticed that their compass is different and the North Pole is different. So what should they do? They realized that they've got different points on the earth where the magnetic needle turns, where the magnetism of the earth is different. So we need to adjust for declination. If you look at this map, since we are doing American honor, this you'll get at the bottom of your orienteering map, it will tell you the declination. All right. So if you go towards the west, I mean 5 degrees west, it's a positive. All right. It is a positive this one value. You can see the agonic line. Okay, this is 0 degrees. So wherever you're on the agonic line, you do not have to change the compass degree. Okay, so we found out that the azimuth there in the previous slide was 320 degrees. Okay, that will be on the agonic line. Whatever you see is what you get, is what your bearing is, what your azimuth is. Now suppose you're at 5 degrees west. 5 degrees west means it's a positive, this one, as declination. Okay, so when you've got a positive declination, you look at your azimuth. Like in the previous, this one we got 320 degrees. But then the true azimuth, if you use the map, if you want to reach a particular destination, you'll have to minus 5 from 320. So your real azimuth will be 315 degrees. All right, because you'll be using a topographical map, you will have to draw your line at 315 degrees. Now if you are at this part of USA, now this is 10 degrees east, this is a minus azimuth. Okay, I mean a minus declination. You will have to add this value to your azimuth. Like it was 320 degrees, if you are in this part of America, you'll have to add 10. So your actual azimuth will become 330 degrees. Okay, so nowadays it's very easy. You can just go on Google and find out declination in Pune Spicer, a topographical or magnetic declination at Pune. So they'll give you the declination. If you're going for orienteering in and around Pune, you can use that declination. Next slide, please. Be able to orient yourself and a map by inspection and by compass. Okay, so the two methods of this one, I didn't mention them. So when you look, usually, I already told, you'll have to adjust with the, if it's a positive, you'll have to minus it from the azimuth. Okay, from the azimuth reading. If you're at a negative declination, you'll have to add it. It's like the clock, like GMT. All right. So if you want to find out the time in England right now, I was just talking to my friend some time ago. India is +5 GMT. All right. But if you want to find out the actual time in England, you will have to minus 5.5 hours from our timing. So even though it's +5.5 GMT, you'll have to minus that time. So it works the same for azimuth. It may be plus, all right, +5 degrees, but to find the actual azimuth of your position, you will have to, if it's plus, you'll have to minus it. If it's minus declination, you'll have to add it to your reading, azimuth reading. And sometimes you've got compass that have a declination setting at the bottom. So you can set the compass, the declination already, and then it will adjust accordingly before you take your reading. All right, so those are the two methods of setting your declination using a compass. Be able to orient yourself. All right, where's the slide? Next slide, please. All right, so this is a video, and Can we get an audio, please?
Can you hear the sound or no? Could you hear the sound? Wait, hold. Tell me if you could hear the sound, okay?
Yeah.
Compass is part of the 10 essentials, and most people take one with them into the mountains.
But it's very low.
Does it work? Luckily, it
Very
isn't
low?
too-
Okay, wait, hold. Let me try.
Why is the pixel rate so low? Can you increase
I
the
don't know.
speed?
Because I think it's from the just one sec. Okay, now it should come. Coming?
A compass is part of the 10 essentials, and most people take one with them into the mountains. But how in the world does it work?
Is it loud enough?
Luckily, it isn't too hard to use your compass. And when paired with a good map and a bit of know-how, it becomes a powerful tool for navigation. In this video, we're going to cover the essential parts of the compass, how to set up your compass to account for the declination.
What happened?
No, continue, please.
Is it loud? Is it loud enough?
It's loud enough. I'll explain. I mean, whatever needs to be told, I'll tell later. Yes, please.
Okay.
A compass is part of the 10 essentials, and most people take one with them into the mountains. But how in the world does it work? Luckily, it isn't too hard to use your compass. And when paired with a good map and a bit of know-how, it becomes a powerful tool for navigation. In this video, we're going to cover the essential parts of the compass, how to set up your compass to account for the declination for your region, how to take a bearing from a map to find an object in the field, and how to take a bearing in the field to find yourself on a map. All right, it's going to be hard to talk about how to use a compass without first understanding what all the different parts are for. So let's go through that real quick. This is the base plate. It's clear, so you can see the map below it. And there's always at least one straight edge that you'll use later for taking bearings. On the side, there are rulers that you can use along with your map scale to help you calculate distance. On top, you'll find a direction of travel arrow to remind you which direction to point the compass when you're taking a bearing. This big circle is the rotating bezel, which is marked with degrees from 0 clockwise up to 360. Above the bezel is a little marker called the index line, which marks where you'll read your bearings. Inside the bezel, the first thing you'll notice is the magnetized needle, which always points to the magnetic North Pole, not the true North Pole. We'll get into the difference in a minute. There's also a big arrow called the orienting arrow, which you'll use to help you orient the bezel. Alongside the orienting arrow are orienting lines that you'll use to help you line up the compass with north on a map. Finally, some compasses have a handy declination scale, which makes it easier to adjust declination. What's declination, you ask? Well, declination is the angle difference between true north and magnetic north. The needle in your compass will only point to magnetic north, so right now it's pointing to somewhere in northern Canada, not Santa's workshop. If you don't adjust your compass to account for the difference between magnetic north and true north, it can really mess up your navigation. Depending on where you are in the country, the declination will be a certain number of degrees to either the west or the east. You can find the direction and number of degrees in the declination diagram near the legend, along with the date of the map's most recent revision. If your map hasn't been revised for several years, it's worth looking up the current declination online. Different compass brands set declination in different ways, and once you know the declination for your region, you can put that information into your compass. When you do, and the needle lines up inside the orienting arrow, the north marker on the bezel will point to true north. This map of the Lake Tahoe area has a declination of 14 degrees east, and it was updated very recently. So we need to move the orienting arrow 14 degrees to the east. Now that the declination is set, you can start using your compass with your map. First off, a bearing describes a direction in terms of degrees. Bearings are way more precise than just saying go east or west. Instead, you can say to get to the lake, follow a bearing of 79 degrees. One of the most common ways to use a bearing is when you're out hiking and you want to head to a specific point, like a peak or your campsite. If you know where you are on a map, it's a simple process. Start by finding your current location on the map. Let's say we're here. Now set your compass on the map so that the straight side of the base plate lines up with your position. Next, find the point you want to head toward. Let's say it's this peak. And rotate the entire compass until it forms a line between your position and your destination. Make sure the direction of travel arrow is pointing in the direction of the peak. Once the compass is in position, rotate the bezel until the orienting lines are lined up with north and south on the map. You can use the edge of the map to help you get the line's position just right. Remember to make sure that the north marker on the bezel is pointing to north on the map and not south. Okay, once the orienting lines are running north-south, look at the index line to read the bearing you've just captured. Here, it's 188. Congrats! Now you can use the compass to follow the bearing. Hold the compass in front of you with the direction of travel arrow pointing away from you. Now rotate your whole body until the north side of the magnetized needle is inside the orienting arrow. If it helps, you can remember red in the shed. Once you've got red in the shed, you're facing the bearing of 188 and your destination. If you're out hiking and you want to find your location on a map, you can also take a bearing off a landmark near you. Then you can transfer that bearing to your map and figure out where you are. Start by finding a landmark that you can also identify on your map. Hold your compass up with the direction of travel arrow pointing away from you and directly at the landmark. Now keep the compass flat and rotate the bezel until the magnetized needle is inside the orienting arrow, or red is in the shed. Once the needle is in, you've captured the bearing. A compass with a sighting mirror makes it easy to take very accurate bearings. Hold the compass at eye level and point it at the object. Then tilt the mirror until you can see straight down into the bezel. This way you can see the object and the bezel at the same time. Once you've got the bearing, you can transfer it to the map. Lay your compass on the map and line up its edge with the known landmark. Make sure that the direction of travel arrow is pointing in the direction of the landmark. With the edge of the compass lined up against the object, rotate the entire base plate until the orienting lines are running north-south and the north marker on the bezel is pointing to north on the map. Once you've finished, you can draw a line on the map along the edge of your compass. You are somewhere along this line. If you want to find your exact position, you use a process called triangulation. All you have to do is take another bearing, but with a different object that's at least 60 degrees away from the first. Where the two lines intersect is your position. If you take a third bearing, you'll end up with a little triangle, and the smaller the triangle, the more accurate the reading. Compass skills can be daunting at first, but they get way easier with practice. Watch the video a few times to get familiar with the techniques, and then test them out on your favorite trail. And for more practice and a deeper dive into navigation, click here to find a navigation class near you.
All right, so that was how you do it. If you want to know, because this is actually a very practical honor. All right, just by explaining to you, it'll be very difficult. But then since we are in the time of Corona and you've got, that was a pretty good video. It covered a lot of what we actually have to do practically on this, for this honor. The last one is point number 9, explain resection and its use. All right, resection is when you need to find yourself on the map. All right, so they already told you, the last portion of the video was telling, if you want to find yourself on the map, you draw your bearing, and once you draw your bearing, you'll be able to find out, you'll be somewhere on the line. The moment you take a second bearing, now remember the second bearing has to be at least 60 degrees or greater. If they say that 90 degrees is much better, but then anything above 60 degrees greater will give you a better reading. So when those two lines intersect, all right, the place where those two lines intersect is your position on the map. And they said if you take a third reading, then you'll have a much more accurate position of your location, all right, on the map. And that is resection and its uses. You'll be able to find out where you are and where you have to go, and that is resection. You do it by finding two bearings, all right, and you draw the lines from that bearing, from a location. You draw a line according to your scale, and you take 60 degrees or more. You look at another landmark and you take its bearing or its azimuth, and when those two lines cross, you'll get your resection point, which is your location on the map. So that is it. Point number 10 is a very practical thing. Next point, next slide. Prove your ability in the use of a map and or a compass by following a 1 mile cross-country course with at least 5 given readings or control points. Now, I do not know how I will be able to judge you, but since I'm just the instructor, the main coordinator is Sir Roland. So he will direct you on how to do this, or at least you should be able to read a map and you should be able to find your way through. All right, that's what I'll say. And we're at the end of our honor. If you've got any questions right now, you can please put them forth. Any questions regarding the honor? All right, I don't think there are any questions. I'll just ask one thing. If you looked at the video, if you notice the maps, there was one of the symbol on the map. It was right at the middle of the map. Can any one of you tell me what symbol that was? Next to which place? If you watch the video carefully, they showed orienteering map. And on the map, one of the symbols that we learned, one of the 32 symbols was there. Anyone? I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that means you did not notice it. But then what was there on the map was this symbol. Now what is this? What is the meaning of this on your map? In black. Gabriel, Shruti, Sir Roland, what is this symbol on the map? In black. Nobody? All right, that is a campsite. It looks like a mountain. So that is not a mountain. I told you it is a tent. So where you've got this shape on the map.
Camping.
Yeah, it's a camping location. All right. So in their map, their camping location was next to Mochawik Lake. So next to the lake, not too close, was this tent. That was a symbol used on the map. Now, I hope you all understood. It's a very practical honor. All right. We can give you all the theory, but it's a very practical honor. You'll have to actually get a compass. And the more you use it, the easier it'll become. You'll be able to understand it better when you use it. All right. So that is the end of our honor. I hope that you'll be able to remember it. And one day, I hope it becomes useful for you, because just gaining knowledge, if you do not apply it in your life, then it's practically useless.